Okay, we're live here at the Rolls-Royce dealership over off of 610 and Memorial. And we found a form of racism, sexism, or something that's taking place here at this dealership.
When you think of discrimination or racism, it should take you back to the 50s and 60s, right? Well, I read an article somewhere that indicated that you can't discriminate unless you have some type of dominion over another race, which indicates to me that only people in power has the ability to discriminate. But why would they? Back on March the 3rd of 1991, 4 Caucasian police officers beat an unarmed motorist, Rodney King, which was caught on videotape by a bystander. Each of these officers had thought that they had some type of dominion over Mr. King. The officers were all arrested only because of the uproar of the public. But the judicial system acquitted each and every one of them. Back on November the 14th of 2007, a Caucasian man, Joe Horn, shot and killed 2 men in Pasadena, Texas with brown skin. He saw them burglarizing his neighbor's home, even after the dispatcher told him repeatedly not to interfere. The 2 suspects ran away from him and got shot in the back. Yes, he fired his gun in a neighborhood. The penal code here in Texas indicate that you have the right to defend your property, but nothing is in the law about defending someone else's property. And the grand jury no-billed him and he was never arrested. On February the 26th of 2012, Trayvon Martin in Stanford, Florida was walking home with Skittles and he was killed by George Zimmerman. Again, he wasn't arrested until a public uproar. The trial is still pending. Now, this is a story that most of you have never heard of. Marissa Alexander in the same state of Florida found herself in a violent confrontation with her husband. Her husband already had a history of abuse towards her and other women in the past, causing her to place an injunction for protection against him. Well, he attacked her again back in 2010, and she attempted to run and ended up in the garage where the door was broken so she couldn't get away. She had a concealed weapons permit to carry a gun, so she took the gun from her car to stop him from beating her, and when she went back into the house, he came towards her telling her that he was going to kill her, so she shot the gun towards the ceiling just to scare him away. No one was hurt, no one was killed, and she ended up being convicted and thrown into prison for over 20 years. And the Caucasian judge said when she came back into the house that she could have exited out of another door or a window if she felt threatened. Could George Zimmerman have turned another direction before he killed Trayvon Martin? Why didn't stand your ground work for her? Again, on November the 23rd of 2012 in Jacksonville, Florida, David Dunn stopped at a gas station convenience store, parked next to an SUV with 4 teens inside, and complained about their music, which elicited a verbal response from the teenagers. Dunn pulled out his gun and fired 8 or 9 shots into the vehicle, striking 17-year-old Jordan Davis several times, killing him, and fled the scene. His attorney said, and I quote, "It will be clear that Mr. Dunn acted very responsibly, as any responsible firearm owner would have under these circumstances. The young man did not even exit the car." President Obama has been the most disrespected president in the history of this country. He wasn't born in Hawaii, even though 50 years ago the announcement was printed in the newspaper. He's a Muslim, but he was in Reverend Wright's church for over 20 years. He's the welfare president. Janet Brewer disrespecting him. Congressman Joe Wilson screaming out at the President's State of the Union address, "You lie." Mitch McConnell and his cronies meeting 24 hours after the president was sworn into office, making plans to tarnish his legacy. And let's not forget how they played with the debt ceiling 2 years ago and forced Standard & Poor's to downgrade America's credit ratings, which has never ever been done in the history of this country. Donald Trump with the birther debacle. Glenn Beck calling him a racist. I can go on all days with these types of discriminatory practices towards a certain particular race. And you might be asking, what does all of this have to do with the Rolls-Royce Motor Cars of Houston? Well, first let me tell you that no one was killed or physically hurt, but I'll let you be the judge of what happened to me, if it was racist, sexist, or a ripoff. I have the reason to believe, and I do believe, that this company falls under one of these categories, and let me prove it. Before I tell you my story, I wanted to see if I was the only person that encountered any type of discrimination from this company. So I searched the internet and went to Google and I typed in Rolls-Royce racism, and look what comes up first on this list. Here's an article written by Warren Rogers and a racist encounter that he experienced with another Rolls-Royce dealer. Listen to his story. Then he came up to me and stated, "We don't want your business." And I said, "Am I getting thrown out because I'm not buying what you want me to buy?" And he said, as he came up to me, "Nigger, get your black ass out." Well, I have to tell you this. This wasn't the same dealer that I had my problem. And I want you to know that if this wasn't true, I'm sure Rolls-Royce attorneys would have sent him a cease and desist letter. Now, here's my story. A couple of years ago, my business partner and I decided to purchase a prestigious vehicle for our business, and she decided on a Rolls-Royce. But not just any Rolls-Royce, but the $500,000 suicide door, two-door convertible Rolls-Royce. When you pay this type of money for a vehicle, you would think that it's well made, right? Well, here's a stack of invoices for all of the repairs that has been done on this vehicle. Starting with Exhibit 1, invoice number 14850, dated July the 13th of 2010 at 20,191 miles, and the last invoice, Exhibit 18, dated January the 3rd of 2013. At this time, the vehicle only had 62,582 miles on it. Now, what is weird to me is I also own a Chevy Astro van with over 260,000 miles on it that hasn't had so much work done to it. But I have to tell you about the discrimination practices that have taken place by Rolls-Royce. My partner is a woman. She's of African descent, and I don't call anyone black because it's a color, not a race, and she's in her 60s. She takes the car to the shop every time she hears anything that doesn't sound right. This vehicle has a 4-year warranty on it. Well, I want to show you how all of this got started. Please look at Exhibit 2, invoice number 14969, dated August the 12th, 2010. You will see that this vehicle only has 22,027 miles on it at this time. In Section G, you can see here that the Rolls-Royce Service Department says, and is stated on the invoice, that they found excessive wear on the rear tires and the alignment settings are okay. Submitted to Goodyear for possible warranty. If okayed and payment is received, will issue credit for prorated amount to customer. So, can someone tell me if the rear alignment is okay? What could have worn these tires to have excessive wear on the inside of them with just 22,027 miles on them? Did these tires wear on the inside on their own? Or was it a problem with the suspension? On page 3 of this same invoice, you can see they charged us $2,533.12 for 2 tires. Then let's look at Exhibit 6, invoice number 1559, dated December the 20th, 2010, with 27,783 miles. This invoice indicates that both front tires were worn, but no explanation on how they got worn with just 27,783 miles. Well, they charged us $1,765 for those 2 tires. Now let's look at Exhibit 12, invoice number 17222, dated on January the 11th, 2012 at 42,886 miles. This invoice indicates that one of the rear tires had a nail in it, and I guess they meant to say found both rear tires worn out and nail RR replaced both rear tires. Now, mind you, these are the same tires that we purchased on August the 12th of 2010 with 22,027 miles, which was about 5 months prior with a little over 20,000 miles on them. This time they used the word worn. Back in August, they used the word excessive wear on the inside edges. On this invoice, we were charged $2,658 for 2 rear tires. Next, I want you to see Exhibit 14, invoice number 17676, dated April the 24th, 2012 at 48,466 miles. This invoice states the front tires were worn again, and they replaced both front tires and charged us $2,985. Do you remember the last time that we replaced these front tires? Well, it was on Exhibit 6 at 27,783 miles on December the 20th, 2010, which again, with only 20,683 miles of wear on this pair. And the last invoice I want you to see is Exhibit 17, October the 23rd, 2012, invoice number 18467 at 58,546 miles. Now they're really being slick. This invoice states, replace front tires with client's permission, but nothing about why we gave them permission. Well, they charged us again for the front tires, but look at this. They gave us a $350 discount. So the total for the front tires were $2,114.54. But look at what it says here, that pesky nail again. This invoice states, and I quote, rear tire has a nail in sidewall, and we were charged $1,343.34 for the rear tire. That same Astro van that I spoke about earlier has never had so many nails in it. Maybe nails are only attracted to Rolls-Royce. So let's do the calculations. $2,533.12, $2,658, $1,345.34, which is a total of $6,536.46 for 5 rear tires within a 2-year period, and none of them had over 20,000 miles of wear. Now let's look at the front tires. $1,765, $2,985, $2,114.54. So the total for all 3 pair of front tires was $6,864.54. The grand total for all the tires was $13,401 for 11 tires within a 2-year period. So you can see the facts. Now I want you to listen to what happened. My business partner only tells me what she paid for the services, so I began to ask her, what is she paying for so much? And she told me, tires again. And I asked her, how many times have she purchased tires lately? And she told me several times. So I asked her if she asked the service department if the tires had any warranty or road hazard, and she told me she didn't, and for me to call. The first time I called, I spoke with the service advisor by the name of Joshua Bashir. I asked Mr. Bashir if the tires were warranty or if they had any kind of road hazard warranty, and he answered me with,
"Unfortunately, tires are a wear item and they are not covered under warranty."
Then I called and spoke with the service manager, Chuck Kearns, and I asked him about the warranty of the tires, and this is what he had to tell me. Is this Chuck?
Yes, speaking.
And you're the service department manager?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, I spoke with you last week, and I'm forming a letter right now, and I'm trying to get everything put together properly. I'm Dorothy Cook's business partner, and so far I'm having some real huge issues with this tire situation. So we're forming a letter, but the problem that I'm having right now, if you can give me the information on the tires that was purchased, because I talked to a lot of people, and the question I have for you: does Goodyear not have, or you guys not have, some type of road hazard warranty on tires that's so expensive for a nail?
No, sir, we have no road hazard warranties.
And Goodyear don't offer any type of road hazard warranty?
No, sir.
Who could have ever imagined such expensive tires with no warranty? Then I called and spoke with the general manager about the tires and asked him about the road hazard warranty or any type of warranty, and this is what he told me.
They would have a warranty on them, but I don't know about a road hazard.
Again, the general manager repeated himself at a meeting that I scheduled with him at their location, and this is what he said again.
We will find out. Obviously, we're going to get the tires examined by a Goodyear representative. If there is road hazard, it would be a new one on me, because I've never seen that in OEM tires. When you buy a tire from Discounter or Sears or whatever else, you can purchase, sometimes they give it to you, but you can purchase a hazard policy at a fraction of the price of the tire. It's insurance, is all it is. But as far as OEM tires that come with cars, I've never seen one when did I start? 1982. So I've been doing this a while. I've never seen a tire that had road hazard on it.
Now, the general manager told me that he's been in the dealership for 9 years and he didn't know anything about any road hazard on tires. Listen to him asking me about the tires on a conversation that we had, tires that they sell. On the
N-E-N-T or E-M-T?
Edward Mary Tom.
That's what I thought. Okay, hold on. Because they have a little search engine within their site. Initial couple exclamations, that's probably it. Yeah, because I got to check this out. I never heard about the road hazard thing, but I'm not doubting you, but that would be a whole new one on me too.
After all of this, I decided to contact Goodyear for myself. I went to their website and called the number, and please listen to what I learned directly from Goodyear.
This is Goodyear Customer Relations. How can I help you?
I have a huge problem. My business partner has your tires on her Rolls-Royce. And of course, the Rolls-Royce dealer is the only place that you can get the tires. And ironically, we go to Discount Tires, buy other tires, and the road hazard warranty covers them for nails and stuff like that. Well, we bought a set of tires for the car about 8 months ago, and Rolls-Royce is claiming it's not the car's problem from the front end work, but two of the front end tires, something happened to them. We had to replace those, and the back tire had a nail in it, and the tires got probably 80% of the tread still on it, and they claim that Goodyear doesn't have any type of road hazard warranty, and those tires are $1,400 a piece.
What's the name of the tire?
The name of the tire is Eagle NCT5.
Does it say EMT?
N Nancy Cat Tom. Oh yes, EMT, yes.
Then that's a one flat tire, and it does have a road hazard built right into it.
Well, they did not. Rolls-Royce dealer here in Houston, Texas, says there's nothing that they can do, and I had to pay $1,400 for another tire. And I could not believe that, so that's why I'm calling you guys to find out what do I need to do, or what.
Yeah, if it's an EMT tire, it does come with its own warranty. Defects in workmanship and material and non-repairable road hazards. Where was the nail?
They say it was in the side.
Okay, that's a non-repairable road hazard, so Rolls-Royce should have handled it according to warranty.
So based on your knowledge and based on the website, is the nail covered under the warranty?
It should be. It would be the no charge period is 12 months to 30 seconds. After that, it's prorated based on tread up to 6 years.
Okay.
So, this is between you and Rolls-Royce.
Okay.
Because if they sold you a Goodyear tire, they can warranty a Goodyear tire.
Exactly. Well, that's what I was under the impression. Okay. That's what I needed to know.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Now, can you tell me how all the principals at this dealership had no idea about the tires that they sell? But it gets better. On Exhibit 17, invoice 18467 on October the 10th of 2012, this is the invoice that led me straight to this investigation. They indicated that because of the upper control arm bushings going bad is what caused the tires to wear. As a matter of fact, let's listen to Mr. Brashear about this fact.
Those bushings affect the alignment, which in turn affects the wear of the tires.
Now I want you to listen to Chuck Kearns contradicting the service advisor.
I was under the impression, I don't know if it was you or if it was the other guy that talked to me about the problem with the front end, and he was, I think it was you that said that the wear on the tires did not come from the problem that the front end had. Is that correct?
That's correct. My factory rep came by and inspected the car himself, and he agreed with it. He stated that, based on his opinion, the wear characteristic on it was related to aggressive cornering.
And that would be aggressive cornering on both sides of the turning left and right on the car. Is that was
Left or right, yes sir, either way.
okay?
Which isn't uncommon. It's a big heavy car. If you go a little fast around the corner, all that weight goes to the edge of the tire, and then so it wears it out faster.
So in your assessment, did the problem with the front end during the time that the car was driven with that front end problem that you guys repaired under warranty, based on your assessment, that did not affect the tires in any fashion?
Not that we see at this point. The factory rep also agreed with the same statement.
Okay, and who was that factory rep?
That would be Matt Dunn.
Okay, and who was the other person?
Matt Dunn, that's the factory rep.
Oh, that's the same guy that you
Yes, sir.
just mentioned, and he's a factory rep for Goodyear.
Rolls-Royce.
For Rolls-Royce.
He happened to be at the dealership, and we showed it to him. He goes, "Oh yeah, it's just he inspected it and said, oh yeah, that's related to that."
Okay, all right, that's what I needed for the information. Okay, thank you very much for your time.
He actually accused my partner of aggressive cornering, but there's nothing in all the invoices for over 2 years of her driving this vehicle would support this theory. He even said that Rolls-Royce factory Matt Dunn agrees with the bushings playing no role in the wear of these tires. I asked him not to get rid of the tires because I was going to come pick them up. I took those tires to 2 different companies to be evaluated, and both told me that the bushings caused the problem. So we had a face-to-face meeting with all 3 parties, with the general manager, Mike Beret, with the service advisor, Joshua Brashear, and with the service manager, Chuck Kearns. Chuck asked Mr. Sean Elias, the technician, to come into the room and allow me to ask him a question and listen to how he answered about the bushing that caused the problems with the alignment.
Sean? Devon, my pleasure.
Ask
He
or
wants-
talk, whatever.
He has a question regarding the Dorothy Cook car,
Okay.
where we were, you, I think, replaced the upper control arm bushings. And he wants to know if the upper control arm bushing.
Well, I'll ask the question. We were having a discussion, and they said you would be the person who can answer the question. I said, okay.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
That guy?
You're that guy.
Okay.
From my understanding from the research that I've done about upper control arm bushings, that the upper control arm bushings on most cars, and it didn't say most, it says the upper control arm bushings affects the alignment of a vehicle. And if the upper control arm bushings are bad, should knock the alignment out.
Yes, it will.
That's exactly what I thought. Now, he just contradicted his own boss in his face. Please look at this article that I had to find on my own. As you can see here, it states any worn components that's connected with the wheels to the car, ball joints, wheel bearings, shocks, absorbers, springs, bushings, etc. Just think about this. The upper control arm bushings is a part of the suspension. If it had not affected the alignment, why would they be there? I spoke to a front end alignment specialist, and I was told that anyone who says that the bushings doesn't affect the front end alignment, they're crazy. Well, it even gets better. I have several different cars, and each of them have a particular scheduled maintenance list. So I asked Joshua, what type of scheduled maintenance come with this vehicle? I want you to notice on invoice 16, look at the mileage at 56,682 miles. Now I want you to listen to the service advisor indicating what they did and how they evaluate a Rolls-Royce for service. I asked him to explain how they service this vehicle, and listen to what he said. Is it that you guys don't service everything and just looked over it, or how did that go?
Certainly. Let me do it. Let me get into Ms. Cook's history here, so we're all on the same page. Yeah, the last time the car was here was back in September. It left here September 7th, so a little over a month ago. At that time, we had a loud noise, kind of like a backfiring noise. We fixed that. Also had a transmission warning light, which we fixed that as well, and had some general maintenance items, some microfilters, which are air filters for the cabins, and some spark plugs that were replaced. Let me see if there was anything else. No, just that. Okay. And then it was here back in July for some other things. What has happened here is that in between September and now, something's happened with these bushings where it was making a noise which it was not making before. It's incredibly obvious when you drive it, and if we had heard it, noticed it, seen it while it was here, we wouldn't have let the car go. We would have fixed it. So something's happened between then and now. She's put about 2,000 miles on the car between September and now, and so that noise, that noise is coming from some bushings that have worn out and have given way. Those bushings affect the alignment, which in turn affects the wear of the tires. And at the time it was here previously, we don't go through absolutely everything in the vehicle every time the car comes in. That's not an efficient use of time. But we do generally look over the car, make sure everything safety related is addressed. There's no leaks and no nails in tires, stuff like that.
Now, did he just say if we had seen it, heard it, or noticed it while it was here? What type of shade tree mechanic service is this? Yes, you heard him say we do generally look over the car to make sure everything safety related is addressed. They looked over the car and looked for obvious problems and not to perform a scheduled routine maintenance. Can someone tell me how you can see a defective bushing from a general look over? If you look here on Exhibit 16, we had to request maintenance. And on Exhibit 17, again, we had to request maintenance to get them to fix the vehicle. I specifically asked the service advisor, Joshua, if your service, any of the services that's been done on the car, is that part of the procedure based on the year of the car to check those areas because of that problem of the rubber being dry rotted after so many years?
No, the only scheduled maintenance that Rolls-Royce selects, there's oil, brake fluid, coolant. They have us check the tires as far as tire pressure and tread depth. but let's see here. Front brakes, spark plugs, rear brakes. There's nothing in the suspension that is a regular inspection.
Wow, that's interesting.
And that's straight from Rolls-Royce, as they give us those. The car keeps track of the maintenance items as far as the things I just spoke of, and there's a specific checklist that we go through when those items are due. Unfortunately, there's no specific from Rolls-Royce, no specific inspections that have to be performed for suspension issues and other issues like that. They're addressed as they come up.
Wow, Joshua, you could probably get a raise in the company if you can save Rolls-Royce a bunch of money to say, you guys, don't you think at a certain time period we should check suspension so if it's under warranty we could save a ton of money if we can catch a problem before it causes any additional problems? Because
we certainly could. I'll be perfectly honest though, under warranty, this is Ms. Cook, I've been here 5 years and this is the first car that I've had under warranty with this high of miles. We don't get very many cars that are driven, this much, which is a wonderful thing. Obviously Ms. Cook loves her car and she loves driving it. That's fantastic. But it's just not something that in the Rolls-Royce world, unfortunately, this is a very uncommon thing.
straight from Rolls-Royce. And what would you think the service manager would say about scheduled maintenance on a Rolls-Royce? Let's listen to Chuck.
Right now is upper control arms. I'm not sure what happened with the communication between Josh and you. Josh obviously failed to write it down. Without it being written down, the technician he did a very, very minor service on the car. And they do a general quick inspection of the vehicles during that, but they don't get deep involved in the full suspension checks like you would looking for control arm bushings and stuff like that. So that's a pretty heavy repair. During a service, we're going to look for safety issues and things where the car is unsafe to drive and things like that. So I'm not really sure what happened there.
Wow. After hearing both from Joshua and Chuck telling me how they basically just do a look over or they only fix what you ask, makes me think that Rolls-Royce owners would have to be very knowledgeable of cars to get their car fixed properly. So I decided to investigate this a little deeper. Please understand the front tires were purchased on Exhibit 17, invoice 18467 was because we complained again about the front end rattling, and the service department told us that they found the upper control arm bushings that was broken on both sides this time. But if you look at Exhibit 15 dated on June 28 of 2012 at 53,948 miles, they changed the lower control arm bushings that was broken and the housing rubbed into the subframe. So in June they looked at the control arm and only changed the lower bushings, but it's a mechanic's rule of thumb. If you are already working on the control arm, you would change both. It's just a piece of rubber, but they didn't do it. So they made it seem like it was our fault, like they did with every set of tires that we had to purchase. But you gotta see this. I found a website that showed all the scheduled maintenance for a 2009 Phantom Drophead Rolls-Royce. Do you remember what Joshua said was a part of their scheduled maintenance? If not, let's listen again. And he paused as if he was reading it straight from the computer, and he states directly from Rolls-Royce. Listen to this.
The only scheduled maintenance that Rolls-Royce selects, there's oil, brake fluid, coolant. They have us check the tires as far as tire pressure and tread depth. But let's see here. Front brakes, spark plugs, rear brakes. There's nothing in the suspension that is a regular inspection.
Wow, that's interesting.
And that's straight from Rolls-Royce, as they give us those. The car keeps track of the maintenance items as far as the things I just spoke of, and there's a specific checklist that we go through when those items are due. Unfortunately, there's no specific from Rolls-Royce. No specific inspections that have to be performed for suspension issues and other issues like that. They're addressed as they come up.
He states it's in their policy to only do what is asked for, to do a thorough exam of the vehicle. This is a site that shows all the scheduled maintenance for this particular vehicle, and look what it states. Let's go straight to 50,000 miles scheduled maintenance, and Let's go backwards. As you can notice here, it states 18 different items to be inspected, adjusted, or changed. And Joshua named, and I'll let you listen again and see his words.
The only scheduled maintenance that Rolls-Royce selects, there's oil, brake fluid, coolant. They have us check the tires as far as tire pressure and tread depth. But let's see here. Front brakes, spark plugs, rear brakes. There's nothing in the suspension that is a regular inspection.
Wow, that's interesting.
And that's straight from Rolls-Royce.
Well, based on this site, there are 11 items that suggest service that Joshua states that Rolls-Royce neglects to perform. And the most incriminating part about this statement, listen to this.
There's nothing in the suspension that is a regular inspection.
And the service manager confirming it when he says this.
And they do a general quick inspection of the vehicles during that, but they don't get deep involved in the full suspension checks like you would looking for control arm bushings and stuff like that. So that's a pretty heavy repair. During a service, we're going to look for safety issues and things where the car is unsafe to drive and things like that.
Wow. Does it state rotate tires first and second, inspect suspension components? From the time that we use the only Rolls-Royce dealership in Houston, starting with the first invoice dated July the 13th, 2010, and the latest invoice of January the 3rd of 2013, there is no listing on any of these reports that the tires were rotated. Let's continue to go backwards on the scheduling maintenance list. If we look at the 45,000 mark, here there's 25 items. Again, rotate tires and suspension, but ball joints are also part of this list. At 40,000, another 18 items, and look at what's first, rotate tires and suspension. At 35, another 18 items, rotate tires and suspension. At 30,000, it has 28 items to be inspected and not just overlooked. And again, rotate tires and suspension. 25,000 miles, 18 items, rotate tires and suspension. I know this looks redundant, but I want you to see why I believe that there's a major problem with Rolls-Royce. Even at 20,000 miles, there's 18 items, and rotate tires and suspension are on this list. Are we the only owners of a Rolls-Royce that we have to make a particular request to get the vehicle repaired properly? Are we the only people who have to pay Rolls-Royce for tires that's warranted by Goodyear? Or do they treat everyone like this and do a look over to see if they can see anything wrong with the customer's vehicle? Even AutoZone plugs in a computer to do a diagnosis test. I made all of these calls and contacted Mr. Mike Beret to let him know of all that I have found and my intentions to sue the dealership. And in the state of Texas, there's a law in the statute that indicates that you have a right to recover 3 times the amount if you were deceived in any way. And I think we all see how we were deceived. You might be thinking, why wouldn't I just go to discount and purchase some other tires and get a warranty that they offer? Well, Rolls-Royce has that all locked up. You can only purchase these tires from Rolls-Royce, and if you change anything, it will affect your suspension warranty. Most people drive a Rolls-Royce, use their car for a business, so they write it off for their taxes. And most really don't care about this happening because it's just more to write off. But it's unfair and wrong to do this. Well, the story hasn't ended yet. I'm not sure if you know this, but back in 1989, BMW purchased Rolls-Royce. And I was contacted by Donna Rusa of the Customer Relations of BMW corporate office. And she acknowledged that she was aware of the problem and she would be handling it. Well, I didn't hear from her when she told me that she would call me back, so I went to the next step and I took my camera crew to the dealership and I set off to make an expose. And about 20 minutes later, I got a call from Donna with BMW telling me this.
You and she said this offer was only for me, and I said we are together on this, so y'all go ahead.
All right, after hi, Devon, by the way.
Hi, Donna.
Are you there?
Yes.
Hi. Okay, so I did review my marketing, everything. They went through the ROs, and this is just dealing with the tires now. Like I said, I don't really have a background in tires and warranties and stuff like that. I am just customer relations, but they did break it down for me. And the 2 rear tires that were replaced in 2010, the two front tires that were replaced in December 2010, the 2 rear tires that were replaced in January of 2012, and the 2 fronts that were replaced in April of 2012 are completely normal wear life for these tires. Now, the 1 rear tire with the nail in it would have normally been covered by Goodyear's road hazard warranty, but it had a plug-in. It had a plugged repair, so that voided out the warranty. We are willing to reimburse the money for that tire along with the 2 front tires that were purchased in October of 2012 with that 1 rear tire. And that is our offer.
They knew from listening to all the tape conversations and reading all the documents that they were busted, so they called me and tried to offer me a settlement with such a measly amount for the amount that we purchased the last set of tires for. I agreed just to prove my point. If they were not guilty, why would they call me back and offer money to me? This information has to be exposed to the world, and we cannot allow them to treat anyone else this way. So after seeing everything that you've seen and heard what you've heard, the questions are, is it racism because my partner is of African descent and this is how they treat people of color? Is it sexism because she's a woman in her 60s? Or is it like the company likes to rip off their customers? You be the judge. But you have to see this. Let's go through all the invoices to show you how long this vehicle had been in their shop. Exhibit 1, 2 days. Exhibit 2, 8 days. Exhibit 3, 14 days. Exhibit 4, 4 days. Exhibit 5, 2 days. Exhibit 6, 12 days. Exhibit 7, 7 days. Exhibit 8, 7 days. Exhibit 9, 15 days. Exhibit 10, 7 days. Exhibit 11, 87 days. Well, this was because the vehicle was in an accident, so it was 87 days. But did they have to make the parts? Exhibit 12, 7 days. Exhibit 13, 14 days. Exhibit 14, 4 days. Exhibit 15, 19 days. Exhibit 16, 19 days. Exhibit 17, 13 days. And Exhibit 18, 29 days. Now, this was during the time that they knew that I was threatening to sue them. During this time, we couldn't use the vehicle again for Christmas or New Year's. Each year, we use this vehicle in parades during these celebrations. The note on this vehicle is about $6,000 a month. And Rolls-Royce do not offer a loaner. But if I take my Lexus to the Lexus dealer, they will give me a loaner car even for an oil change. Wow.
You might want to ask yourself, is this a dealer that you want to deal with to spend your money? Think about it.